Welcome to The Explainer, where we break down the source material behind the headlines. Today, we're unpacking a really busy week of action from the White House.
Man, what a whirlwind week. We're talking executive orders, presidential proclamations, fact sheets, just a constant stream of them, day after day. So you have to ask, was there a common thread here? Well, let's dive in and see what the documents themselves tell us. Okay, so to make sense of this flurry of activity, we've organized it all into 5 key areas. We're going to start with new rules for immigration, then jump to a federal response to crime, check out some new international deals, look at the economic picture they're painting, and wrap up with a big focus on strength and values.
First up, immigration. Now, the administration made 2 big moves here, and what's really striking is how they seem to pull in completely opposite directions. You've got one policy designed to attract the wealthy, and another that really tightens the screws on skilled workers.
So one executive order officially rolled out this thing called the Gold Card program. The idea, according to the fact sheet, is to bring in entrepreneurs and investors with a super fast visa process. But of course, there's a catch. It's tied directly to making a pretty substantial financial gift to the United States.
And here is where that contrast just becomes crystal clear. At the very same time the Gold Card is offering a fast track for $1 million gift, a totally separate action goes after the H-1B skilled worker visa. It adds a new $100,000 payment for some petitions, and the reason they give is to fight program abuses. So, 2 very different messages for 2 very different groups of people.
All right, so moving from who gets to come into the country, let's turn to a major domestic policy announcement. We're talking about a huge federal intervention aimed at tackling violent crime, and it has a laser focus on one American city, Memphis, Tennessee.
So why Memphis? Well, the administration's whole justification is basically built around this one number. According to the FBI stats they're citing in their fact sheet, Memphis had the highest violent crime rate in the entire nation in 2024. They're really framing the city as the absolute epicenter of a national crisis.
And to really drive home just how serious they think this problem is, the documents they release make some pretty startling international comparisons. They're stating the city's murder rate isn't just high for the U.S., it's about 4 times that of Mexico City, and a staggering 27 times higher than Havana.
So, what's the plan here? The presidential memorandum lays out this multi-step federal response. It involves creating a brand new Memphis Safe Task Force, working with state and local police, and even requesting that the governor of Tennessee make National Guard units available to support the whole operation.
Okay, let's shift gears now from domestic issues to the world stage. Here, the week's actions were kind of a mix of forging new partnerships and, well, just hitting the pause button on old conflicts. A major tech pact was signed with a key ally, while a long-threatened tech ban got delayed yet again.
The big diplomatic centerpiece of the week was this landmark science and technology agreement with the United Kingdom. During the president's state visit, he and Prime Minister Keir Starmer signed what's being called the Technology Prosperity Deal. And when you dig into the details of this memorandum, you see this deal is absolutely all about the future. It commits both countries to some really deep collaboration on these critical technologies. We're talking everything from joint AI research and next-gen 6G telecom to securing nuclear fuel and even speeding up fusion energy. But then, in sharp contrast to all that new cooperation, another executive order kept a policy of just waiting. The delay on enforcing the TikTok ban has been extended one more time. The new deadline for any action is now pushed all the way back to December 16, 2025.
Next up, the economy. Alongside all these policy moves, the administration spent a lot of time this week making its economic case, putting out documents that point to what they describe as a whole series of really positive trends for American families and businesses.
So, according to their own economic scorecard, all the key indicators are pointing up. They're highlighting that mortgage rates are at a 3-year low, real wages have been increasing pretty much every month, all 3 major stock indexes have hit record highs, and retail sales are up 5% from last year.
And then there was this number, which was highlighted in an article titled "The Economy is Back on Track." $9 trillion. That's the amount of new U.S. investment the White House is claiming to have secured, and they're directly crediting their America First agenda and pro-business reforms for it.
And finally, our 5th theme, which was really woven through all the communications this week, a clear and consistent message of American strength, patriotism, and values, all delivered through a series of official proclamations. And look, this wasn't just symbolic. For instance, the formal proclamation for Constitution Week went way beyond just marking a date.
It issued a call for a national recommitment to, in its words, refortifying our storied national customs, culture, heritage, and values. And speaking of values, the White House also spent a lot of time honoring the legacy of the late conservative leader Charlie Kirk. Official releases pointed out tributes from major sports leagues like the NFL and NASCAR, and a special broadcast of the Charlie Kirk Show was even hosted from the White House with the vice president. And that projection of strength? It definitely had a sharp military edge, too. In a presidential message for the Air Force's 78th birthday, the administration praised the branch for ensuring America's unmatched dominance in the skies. And this message, wow, it contained a pretty stunning revelation that really doubles down on that theme of military might. It officially named Operation Midnight Hammer, a mission it claims obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities and what it called a perfectly executed mission. So, okay, when you take a step back and you look at this whole packed week, a really clear picture starts to emerge. We saw this two-sided shift in immigration, a major federal law enforcement surge into Memphis, a key tech pact with the U.K., and it was all set against this backdrop of economic optimism and a really powerful message of American values and military might.
This whirlwind of activity, from domestic crackdowns to international deals and cultural messaging, it really leaves us with one big question to think about. When you look at everything that was prioritized in just a single week, what does this concentrated flurry of action really signal about the administration's path for the coming months?